Hey guys, welcome to our Thursday Facebook Live. We'll give people just a moment or two to find us and jump in before we get started. Glad to see some of you guys jumping on. Just about to get started here. How's everybody doing on this Thursday? Well, so for those of you that may be joining us for the first time, I'm Alan Rigg, lead pastor of Sola Church, launching this fall in Santa Monica. So we're like 6 months this side of launching our church. That means that, we haven't actually begun meeting there yet. Rather than focusing on the things that we can't do, because we haven't actually launched yet, we're focusing on the things that we can do. And one thing we can do is we can jump online and just try to connect with new friends in Santa Monica and the west side of LA, and of course beyond. So fun to be joined by people around the country and even around the world. So what we've been talking about is how we are in this really unique place right now. Together, we're going through this communal experience. And in the midst of this, we have reason and a season to pray, right? Like we have a reason to pray about all the things that are happening to us and around us. But we also have a season to pray. Many of us have far more time than we normally have to actually loosen our feed. Sorry if the feed's cutting in and out. So I was just saying that we have more time than we normally have to pray. So what we've been doing this week at 1 o'clock each day is just talking about how to pray. Trying to answer questions that people might have about what to say to God and how to say it. And what we call the Lord's Prayer, Jesus gave to his followers a model that helps us communicate with God. So we're halfway through the prayer. We said at the beginning that this prayer has 3 petitions that are directed to God. They're all about God's glory, and 3 petitions that are really about our good. And so those first 3 petitions, each of them has a your phrase, your name, your kingdom, your will. We've looked at all of those. And now we're going to move into these petitions for our good, each of which has an us phrase. Give us, forgive us, lead us. So today let's talk about this 4th petition where Jesus teaches us to pray, give us this day our daily bread. Or to just sort of shorten it, give us bread. Now here's the thing. You've never prayed for bread. I mean, chances are no one watching this Facebook Live, either live or later, has ever actually prayed for bread. But just last week, I was in a store looking for bread. I made my way from one end of the store to the other, not once but twice, before I asked an employee if they could tell me where I could find the bread. They gave me the aisle number, but told me there may not be any left. And when I got there, there were maybe a dozen loaves of bread over a large space that normally would have hundreds of loaves of bread. So maybe for the first time we are praying for bread. If not, we're certainly praying for these things, right? We're praying that when we make our supply run, we find bottled water or that we find toilet paper. This phrase bread is, we know it from our own idiom, bread and butter. Sometimes we talk about something being like the bread and butter of a business. It refers to the essential sustaining element. So Jesus was telling us not just to pray for bread, but to pray for food. And really, he was telling us not just to pray for food, but by extension for all of our physical needs. Or even to take it beyond that, he was teaching us to pray about all of our needs, period. Now, one thing this reminds us of immediately is that God is our source. That's why it doesn't make sense to worry, because we're not our source. Our employer isn't our source. Even the federal government ultimately isn't our source. God is our source. The Lord's Prayer, as I said on Monday, is found in 2 places in the New Testament. One of those places is in Matthew 6, which is part of the Sermon on the Mount. And so in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says 3 times, do not worry. He says once, why do you worry? What are you worried about today? The bottom line is We need to not worry about it. We need to pray about it. That's what it says in Philippians 4, verse 6, that we should worry about nothing and pray about everything. So hopefully that's a good word for us today. So it goes on, give us this day our daily bread. I don't know about you, but I kind of wish Jesus had said that differently. I kind of wish Jesus had told us to pray for yearly bread. I'd settle for quarterly bread. Monthly bread would be nice. Weekly bread would be nice. Daily bread, it's crazy, right? Because the truth is, what we want is this, and what we often get is that. You know, sometimes all we have enough for is for that day. But Jesus teaches us to pray for daily bread or daily toilet paper. And why? Well, there's a number of reasons, I think. For one thing, it has to do with contentment. Are you content in your life? This is a time for us to think about that. You know what I've discovered is that people who are discontent when they have only a little are still discontent even if later they have a lot. And I've also discovered that people who are content, with a lot, well, it turns out, if you ask around, they were content even when they had a little. So that's definitely a lesson that we can learn and that we can take to heart. But notice also that Jesus said, give us day by day our daily bread. That sounds a little bit redundant, right? But it's really not, because daily has to do with quantity, and day by day has to do with frequency. To pray for daily bread, one must pray daily. And again, aren't we experiencing this in a very unique way right now? You know, we go to the grocery store, and many stores are putting limits on what we can take when it comes to staple items. You can only buy one milk, or you can only buy one pack of toilet paper, or you can only buy one package of bottled water. And so for many of us, in a way that we've never experienced in our lifetime, we're having to take just enough. So I want to remind you of something we talked about on Monday, and that is that there are no personal pronouns in the Lord's Prayer. Hank Hanegraaff called this praying in plural. I love that. In theory, we think that we should pray for others and not for ourselves. In practice, we may pray for ourselves and not for others if we pray at all. But the truth is that when I pray for me, I should pray for you. And when I pray for me, I should think about you. In other words, I should think about how it will impact you if God says yes to me. And so I want to just make a couple of points here as I start to wrap things up. This is in some ways a time of scarcity, right? It's a time where we don't have as much as we wish we had of certain things, where we do perhaps have some anxiety about whether or not we're going to be able to replenish our supplies when they run out. So I heard someone say that scarcity produces clarity. And in this time of scarcity, there is a unique opportunity for us to gain some clarity in our lives. What can we live with? What can't we live without? What is most important to us? What do we value most? What are our priorities in every part of our lives? But we need to be careful that while we take advantage of the opportunity to allow scarcity to bring clarity, we don't fall into a scarcity mentality. The scarcity mentality is where we think there's not enough to go around, and for me to have enough for myself, I can't share with other people. That for others to get what they need might mean that I don't get what I need. So what I want to say is, during this time where perhaps some supplies are scarce, let's not give into a scarcity mentality. Let's not stop being generous as individuals, as families, as businesses, as churches. Let's be generous. Let's demonstrate our faith by being willing to have open hands and an open heart and to share with other people. I hope that's an encouragement to you guys today. Certainly it gives us some things to pray, right? Thanking God for everything He's given us, trusting Him in advance for everything He's going to give us, committing ourselves to being generous people. So just a reminder as we wrap up, again, launching Sola Church in Santa Monica this fall. If you live in Santa Monica, we want to connect with you. If you know someone who lives in West LA, we want to connect with sure before the week is over when our first online startup party is going to be. So kind of like an interest meeting, but way more fun. And so if you are interested in that, or you know someone who might be interested in that, please reach out. Please leave a comment, send us a message. Let's connect. Check out our website, solachurch.life. And join us tomorrow and Saturday at the same time. We'll finish out the Lord's Prayer, and then we'll give you some details about what we've got planned for Sunday. God bless you guys. Have a great Thursday.